All right, let's dive into a massive showdown happening right now in New York City. We're talking billions of dollars in public pension funds, the future of the planet, and a whole lot of political power all colliding. It is a huge deal.
So, what's at the heart of all this? Well, a plan to fire BlackRock, yeah, the world's largest asset manager, was just stopped dead in its tracks. And the big question is, what exactly happened here? So, let's get into it. To really get what's going on, you have to understand the one decision that basically brought this whole simmering conflict to a boil.
Okay, so you've got a few key players in this drama. First up is Brad Lander. He's New York City's comptroller, basically the city's top financial officer. Then, of course, you've got BlackRock, the giant in the room. The money at stake? It belongs to the NYC pension funds, which is the retirement money for city employees, teachers, you name it. And the ones who make the final call, they're called the trustees. So here's what went down. In late 2025, the trustees got together and basically hit the pause button. They voted to shelve a recommendation to reconsider their huge contracts with BlackRock and another firm, Fidelity. Now, this wasn't an outright no, but it definitely wasn't a yes. It's more like they kicked the can down the road, leaving everyone hanging.
So, you gotta ask, why would the comptroller push for something so big in the first place? Well, to get that, we have to dig into his main argument, and it all comes down to one thing: climate change.
The whole fight really centers on this thing called the Net Zero Implementation Plan. You can think of it as a set of marching orders for the city's money. It's a strategy that says, hey, our investment portfolio needs to hit net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2040. And that means the asset managers, like BlackRock, are expected to play by those rules. And here's where it gets really interesting. The whole basis for the comptroller's argument kind of came from BlackRock's own playbook. See, back in 2020, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink made this huge statement. He said, climate risk is investment risk, and that was seen as a massive signal that they were taking this stuff seriously. But fast forward to 2025, comptroller Brad Lander is basically holding up that quote and saying, unfortunately, BlackRock isn't acting like it believes its own words anymore. It's a direct shot, accusing them of not living up to that big promise. And Lander didn't just make a vague accusation. He laid out some specific charges. He's saying BlackRock is backtracking on its climate promises, that it's not really engaging with companies to push for change, and that its plans to decarbonize are, well, inadequate. Basically, he says they failed a pretty tough evaluation. Now, to be clear, this wasn't just some witch hunt against BlackRock. Lander also went after a smaller firm, Panagora Asset Management. But look what happened there. Panagora came back with a better net zero plan. They adapted. And you know what? Lander withdrew his recommendation. So this shows there was a way to get on the right side of this. Okay, but that's only one side of the coin. BlackRock didn't just sit there and take it. They and their allies came back with a really strong defense. And this really gets to the heart of the fight, right? On one side, you have the comptroller saying, hey, BlackRock isn't meeting its climate goals, and that's a risk to our pension funds. And on the other side, BlackRock's Armando Senra is firing back, saying, no, you're the one politicizing the pension funds. And BlackRock brought receipts, so to speak. They made a few key points. They said, look, we've had a bunch of talks with the city's investment team. They even offered a new climate stewardship program. And they argued that, hey, you can't just change a portfolio this massive overnight. It needs a formal review. And it wasn't just BlackRock defending itself. Other powerful voices chimed in. Catherine Wild, who heads the partnership for New York City, didn't mince words. She called Lander's move unilateral and incomprehensible, basically political theater. So you have these two titans clashing. It all comes down to the trustees. What did they actually decide to do? And here it is, the decision. The trustees voted to table the recommendation. Now that's key. Tabling it doesn't mean it's dead. It's not a win for BlackRock or a loss for Lander. It's just a pause. The fight is very much still on, just for another day. Lander was obviously disappointed, but his reaction was really telling. He basically said, okay, I hope the trustees will pick this back up in the new year when the next comptroller, Mark Levine, takes office. He's essentially passing the torch and the fight to his successor. So that brings us to the big question. What happens now? This vote wasn't the end of the story, not by a long shot. It was really just one chapter. And if you look at the calendar, you can see why. On January 1st, 2026, Brad Lander's term ends, and the new comptroller-elect, Mark Levine, steps in. But here's the kicker. At the end of that same year, BlackRock's entire contract with the pension funds expires. So this whole debate, it's guaranteed to come roaring back, probably even bigger than before.
Which leaves us with the billion-dollar question, literally. As leadership changes, what's going to drive the decisions for New York City's pensions? Is it going to be climate politics, or is it going to be pure financial performance? It's a massive choice, and the answer will echo way beyond the 5 boroughs.